Hi guys, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. I'll just move you around a bit so you can see me squarely. Is that better? I hope you're all well. From Homesteading New Zealand Blind Knitter, I think is the name I'm going to go for. Because what I do in my podcast is I do a lot of homesteading, a lot of cooking from scratch, etc. But I also love to knit. And so I started with the knitting podcast. I've started adding homesteading. So I'll let, every time I put a subject line up when I do a podcast, I'll let you know which one it is. So my last one was a homesteading podcast, and this morning I've had bircher for breakfast, which I made on my podcast. Oh, I've never done it with orange juice before. Oh my gosh, it was really beautiful. Thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I nearly went back for seconds and I'm going, no, Donna, no, because I'm on this little bit of a health kick. Every now and then, sort of every few months, I'll go on a health kick, and I'll, I eat really well and really healthily now, but in between the really well and really healthily eating, I don't eat so well. So I'm trying to cut that one out. Are you crooked? Are you crooked? Oh, can't have you been crooked. I felt like you were going like that. Anyway, it's Donna here. Homesteading New Zealand, the Blind Knitter, and today we're going to talk about knitting. So it's been a little while for me to talk about knitting. I have lost my mojo, I suppose, for a while, but I've done some amazing things over the year, and in reflection, I don't know why I've lost my mojo, although I do know, and I want to talk about it. So for the new subscribers here, welcome. I've had a lot of new subscribers, and I'd love to welcome you to my podcast, my little corner in the world, so to speak, where I talk everything blind knittering and homesteading. So knitting. So I have lost my mojo, and I'm a social worker. So one of the things that I do impart, or hope I impart, is suggestions, ideas, strategies, and talking real about our mental well-being and how we are mentally, and how that impacts us physically and socially, etc. And so in my last podcast, I tried to be really honest. So I've had a hell of a month or so. It's been incredibly stressful, and this weekend I have really, sort of scrimped the brakes on, because what we tend to do when we are stressed is we forget to do, or we put aside all the strategies that are really good for us and that help. And it's human nature. In fact, it keeps me in a job, because I do counselling and social work for people who do that very thing, and I say, what's your self-care practice look like? And they go, well, I used to do this and I used to do that. It's okay, you can get back into it, and it is something that we all do. It's what we do when we're stressed, is we tend to jump into survival mode, and we forget about the things that sort of calm our wairoa, our spirit, and our well-being and our peace of mind. And knitting is one of those things that does it for me. I find it very calming, very, very soothing. But here's the but. This year I have changed my language from what I want to do and what I need to do. So my wants are the things that I love to do. I want to do a jersey for myself. I want to do something for my daughter. I want to do good pre-cooked meals, budget meals, and cooked from scratch. And I want to have dump and go meals in the freezer. I need to eat, and I need to breathe, and I need to move. Those are things that I need to do. But what I've done is I've found that I have changed my wants to needs, and I've put pressure on myself. It's like, oh gosh, I walk into my craft room, which is a hell of a mess. You can see this part, which I think is reasonably tidy, but behind you, it's a hell of a mess. I've just thrown things. In fact, there's a suitcase on the spare bed that has been there almost all year. So every time I've been away on a trip, my little suitcase has not left that bed. it just does my head in. That's a need, that's a want, you know, go away. The need is to get rid of that bag because it's doing my head in. But see, what I've done is I've changed my language, and the things that I love to do and I want to do, I've now put pressure on myself and said, oh, look, I really need to make that podcast. I really need to do that jersey, and I need to finish that jersey. I can't not finish it, and what a waste of money. And so I've really changed my language. So that's something I'm going to concentrate on for a while now, is getting back into the, you know, the wants and needs. Do you want to do it, or do you need to do it? And this weekend's really brought that home to me, because by Friday I was just a wreck, absolute wreck. I had no memory. I couldn't even think what we'd had for tea the night before. What time, you know, couldn't remember, you know, the decisions I'd made through the week. Thank God I keep a journal and write things down. I felt, my whole body felt like it was buzzing inside my bones, and I had huge anxiety. I've always suffered with anxiety, but my anxiety was massive. And I thought, right, I've just got to get a handle on this. So I'll show you what I did. So I have been a journaler all my life. Even as a young teenager, I had a journal. Yes, it was kind of that Dear Diary. I saw so-and-so at college. You know, it was one of those sort of journals. And I never really saw it as a mental health thing. But as an adult, I have journaled all my life. And there's been times when I haven't done it for a long, long, long time. And then I've picked it up. I tend to journal more when I am stressed or pressured, because this doesn't work properly. So how do I explain this? This part of say this is our brain. So this part of the hand is our cerebellum, which is our keep us alive part of the brain. It's our reptilian part of the brain. This thumb represents our emotional part of the brain. So that's the part that does the fight, flight, and freeze. And I've talked about this before. And this part of the brain represents the prefrontal cortex, this front part of the brain. Now, the prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain, which keeps our limbic zone, our emotional part, nice and safe under there, that is the part that gets impacted when we are stressed. That's the, you know, this is the higher functioning part. It's the decision making, knowing right from wrong. It's the seat of our personality. It's our characteristics. All of those higher functioning things are in this part of the brain. Now, have you ever heard of the word flip your lid? Well, this is flipping your lid. You know, all of this part just goes blah. And you're left exposed with your emotional part of your brain. So this is how I was feeling. And I thought, I've just got to do something about it. I've got to get this back so that it's the emotional part of the brain's all nurtured inside, and this part is sort of nice and compact and sort of doing what it's supposed to be doing. I hope that is a good way of explaining it. So I've always found journaling is the way to do it for me. I'm no thespian, or I'm not a wordsmith or anything, so I just simply write. And if you have a look, I'm obviously not going to show you what's really written in there, because this is a true journal. It's not pretend, it's mine. I have done, let me have a look, I'll show you. So I do like little charts, and I draw things, and I glue bits of paper in. I can't find any at the moment, but I glue bits of paper in. In the back, I've got things that I want to keep, like, Stuart, his love language is words, so he always writes me beautiful cards, so I've kept a few of those. And this is my deep thoughts, and it's I write so that I keep it safe, so that I know I can write in it and people aren't going to find it and say, oh, or because that defeats the purpose of the benefit for me. Because the benefit for me is writing free flow without worrying about who's going to read it, so that I can benefit from it. Now, we talked about the 8 areas of human existence in past podcasts. There are 8 areas that kind of make up the whole pie for us. And so what the first thing I do when I get my new journal, oh, I love getting a new journal because I've always been a stationary person. As you buy something really pretty and something nice, and as you get a pretty pen. I've lost my pretty pen. I'm back to basic old black pens now, but I always write. Let me see if I'm not showing you anything inappropriate. No. The 8 areas of human existence at the front of my journal there. And so when I do sit down and do journaling, I always reflect on every one of those 8 areas. So they are intimacy, so that's my partner and how my relationship is there, friends, social connections, family, hobbies, that's the knitting, spirituality, so it's not religion, but it's how do you take care of your soul, your well-being, your inner being, work, personal and work, paid and unpaid, knowledge, how am I learning, am I keeping my brain stimulated, and physical, am I taking care of my body, myself. Now there's 2 others that I tend to add to that, and these are my personal choice. I guess what I've done is extracted them from those 8 areas, and I've added those, and one is finances, so I like to, you know, assess where I am financially, and Kenzie, my dog, just to make sure that I'm keeping her well and healthy as well, because I depend on her incredibly, and if she's not well and healthy, it makes my life hard. So we will get to some knitting, guys, but I just really wanted to be honest about, oh, what a time it's been, and how to work through it. I feel like I'm halfway there. Today I have done what I've needed to do. You know, this is the sort of thing, I mix words up. I said to myself, right, my washing's done, the washing's dishes, the washers are dishing, and I thought, the washers are dishing, the dishes are washing. You know, I mix words up, and but I had a great sleep last night, and I've done some journaling, and I did some knitting. So here we go. So one of my friends said to me, I was talking about how I'd lost my mojo, and she said, Sandy, her name is, and she said, try knitting something small that's quite instant and get, you know, you'll get a dopamine kick from it. And she was right. So I did. My daughter has the same eye disease as me, and sadly she's lost her license recently and is no longer allowed to drive. Massive pill to swallow. We're both, you know, there's a whole lot of process to go, pardon me, to go through with that. I'll just have a drink. Around grief, etc. When you lose your sight, it's a really challenging sense to lose, because you also lose your independence. And when you lose your hearing, you can still drive. When you lose your sense of smell, you can still walk safely to places. When you lose your sight, you lose all of that. And so there's some major changes with it. So she's trying to, you know, get through. It's like walking through thick mud, but she's working her way forward. And I've been there, and I'm very much there as well now. It's a moving target, our eyesight problems. So, but one of the things she's done, which I'm so proud of, is she's taken the bull by the horns, because she can't drive, and she's bought herself a scooter, a little mini scooter, and she blats around on this little mini scooter. Good on her. If I was, 20 years younger, I'd be doing the same thing. My sight is a little bit past that now, and probably my age too. If I fell off, I think I'd end up in hospital in a cast, probably a full body cast. But what she did say is that she gets very, very cold around her nose and her face and her chin. And I said, I can fix that. I'll knit you something. Oh, and I haven't done my homework. See, I'm putting pressure on myself now. I'm not going to put pressure on myself today. You can find out the name of this by going onto Ravelry. It is something or other bandana. I think it's triangular bandana. It's a paid pattern, but it's a very simple pattern. And so I've made her a cowl. It's called a bandana. I have done a lot of modifications on this. Some of them by mistake, being blind, and some of them deliberate, purposefully. So it's, I'll show you, put it on, so it will keep her down here all nice and warm, and she can wear it just when she's going along, like, walking into a shop or whatever. She can wear it like this. And when she gets on her scooter, she can pop that up there like that, and it can breathe through it because it's wool, and yeah, and she's warm. So yeah, and I think it looks quite smart. I love the colour. So yeah, I'm sorry I haven't done my homework, but again, I'm not putting pressure on myself. So this wool is from Skeins up in New Zealand, up in the North Island, where we had a wonderful weekend knit August nights Cairn just recently, August obviously, when a group of us from the Wairarapa went up there and went to their knitting retreat, their annual knitting retreat. And while I was there, I bought this wool from Skeins. It is called Zodiac. That's, if you see it closer, it's 8-ply, and it's a wool cashmere blend. It's lovely and soft, and I purposefully wanted that because you're going to be wearing that up around your neck, so I didn't want anything scratchy. And I know she's quite sensitive, her skin's quite sensitive, so I've blocked it. I blocked it last night. All I've got to do is cut the ends off. I don't cut those off until I finish blocking it. That's all ready to go. So I'm quite chuffed with that. So the pattern, you start down at the point here and you work your way up with short rows. And then once you get to here, you decrease. So you come in a bit. And so I've done, and then you are supposed to do another row similar to this across here to stop it about there. And I've chose to do rib and do like a bit longer, and that's purposely because I wanted it so that she could put it up around her face and it would come in being rib. So that is one of my modifications. A deliberate modification. A not so deliberate modification is I followed the pattern, she says, and got to where it said about the decreases, got to here, and oh no, down here, and it said you should have, I don't know how many stitches, and I can't say because it's a pay pattern, and I had about 20 odd stitches more than I was supposed to. Oops. I have no idea what I did, but it's worked anyway. It's been a happy mistake. So super happy with that. I love this wool. It's so soft. It would make a lovely cardigan. It would really fall beautifully, but be strong because of the merino as well. So it's really a lovely wool. So that's called Zodiac wool cashmere 8-ply. So finished object. Yeehaw. So I finished that a couple of nights ago and I blocked it last night. I haven't done any knitting since I finished it, so it hasn't made me quickly pick up my needles, but it has made me start thinking, okay, I need to get myself sorted. What I thought I would do, what I thought was, and this is another social work strategy that we use, is if you sit down and think about what are the blocks, what are the things that are actually preventing me from picking up the things that I've got half done. What is it that's stopping me? What is the barrier? And I think the barrier, because I had 2 things on the needles, or 3 things actually. The other ones at works I can't show you. 3 things on the needles, and they're all lace. And of course with my site, lace is a challenge. And so I had 3 complicated things going. It's not complicated lace, it's actually reasonably easy lace, but I had 3 going at once. And normally what I like to do is have something just simple stockinette going, and then pick up the lace or the complicated patterns in between so that I can have a break from them. But of course with 3 things all with lace in them, that hasn't been able to happen. So I think that's been one of my barriers there. The second barrier, particularly for this one, which is the Corin cardigan, which I've been working on for quite some time, is I love it, but everybody that bought the same wool as me has either not liked the wool or given it away, or concerned because they think it will pill. So, it's like halfway through something and then everybody says, oh yes, I bought that wool and I got rid of it because I didn't like this, or and it's kind of, so you think, oh, what's the point putting all this effort in? But the point is I've put all this effort in, and so this is my Corin, which is by Rebecca of Creia Bayer. It's a cardigan. It's quite a very simple lace pattern, there. It's all over lace. That's the back there. So it's really pretty. And I've got as far as the sleeve here. This is another barrier. I've made a mistake on that sleeve, and I have to look at that to keep working. So I'm really only up to finishing that sleeve, the other sleeve and the bands, and it's done. So now it's the wool. So the wool is called Roving. It's a skeins wool, and it was on super special, and we all rushed in and bought it, and hence there's been a lot of feedback sort of about it from the others that have bought it as well. Now it is an unspun 8-ply. I really like it, but I have no idea how it's going to wear, and well, I just have to do it. I'm not unpicking it. It would be an incredible waste not to finish it. And cardigans you can't go wrong with. So it's a bomber length cardigan, which will be perfect in the summer. And we're in spring now. We're a couple of weeks into spring, so you know, it's a perfect time to. I should be wearing it. So I don't want to put pressure on myself, but I do want to finish that. I said want, not need. So there's a change of my language. Good work, Donna. Well done. I'll have a coffee for that. I don't know what the weather's like at your place, but it's a cloudy old day today. So Mr. Farmer is out on his lambing beat. Now this is a need. I need to get another load of washing done. I've forgotten how much washing lambing creates. I mean, if you think he's being a midwife to 200 lambs a day, it gets pretty grubby, and so there's a lot of washing. So it's a need. I do need to do another load of washing and get that out. But hey ho, I actually quite like doing washing. And if you want to look back a couple of podcasts, I did a podcast on laundry and some tips and strategies around laundry, but also mental health. Well, you know, I do add mental health all the way through. But it's just a dull old day today, and I am going to have such a cruisy day. That is my goal. So this is the next one that was a lace one, and it is called, so, let me think, First Impressions, and I can't remember the designer, I'm afraid, but it is a lovely short-sleeved 4-ply summer top with stripes of lace through it. So stripes of stocking stitch and stripes of lace. And of course, I've got to the lace. That's a stripe of lace there. Hoping you can see that. Yeah. And but of course it needed headspace, and I've been flitting around to knitting retreats, which has been absolutely wonderful, but you need headspace. And of course, what did I do? Take this, duh. And so it's kind of just sat there, and I really want to get this done for summer. This is a beautiful wool. It's by Sue. Oh, I've forgotten the title of her wool, but Sue. She sells it in New Zealand. She's a local dyer, and it is a merino silk in the prettiest of colour, don't you think? A really pretty sort of orange. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful wool. And that's also on my agenda, but because it's also got lace panels, just don't know. The other one that I've been knitting, which is one that I did pick up quite a few times, is a sock. This is a wool from Good Wool Hunting, and it's a 4-ply sock wool, merino sock wool, and it's a self-striping. So that's it there, and I've only done that, but see, putting pressure on myself again. I've done that much over quite a period of time, and I think, I don't know why I'm tottering along with that. Well, I guess I'm just tottering along with it. So I quite enjoy that, just to pick up and potter with. So, but oh, I know what's my barrier is there. I'm up to the heel, and I am not a practiced sock knitter, and I know that I need to concentrate. So there's another one that needs concentration. So yeah, I can see why I've had this blockage. Funny how talking about it can work it through. So, what else have I got here? Looking in my pile. The other one I've got that I haven't got with me is a beautiful shawl, and it is Pure Joy by Hohi Locatelli, and it's at work, so I potter along it on work. It's also a lace with lots and lots of short rows, so again it's one of those ones that needs me to think. So that's four things I'm working on that all need headspace at a time in my world when my headspace has just been messed up by life. There we go. So the answer to that is my bandana. I thoroughly enjoyed knitting that. I just knit. And so what I thought I would do now is knit myself a vest. What I want is a simple plain vest. And I thought while I was up at Skeins, I'm not sponsored by Skeins, but I do like their wool. It's a good workhorse wool. I brought this. It was on sale. It is Skeins 8 ply. It's a really pretty colour, sort of a I've got a skirt that I love, a pale sort of blue and white striped skirt, which is almost sort of this bluey colour. This will go with it, I'm sure. And I always keep putting it on and wondering what to wear with it, and I think a vest would be perfect. So I'm going to knit myself a vest. What I think I'd like to do is find a vest that is bottom up, so that I can just get something on my needles that is just pure stocking stitch. Because if I cast this on and have to concentrate to do the neck and the sleeves and the divides, I'm defeating the purpose again, aren't I? Yeah, so I need to find something that's bottom up. There we go. That's something I could do this afternoon, is have a look through Ravelry and see if I can find a bottom up one. So those are my FOs and WHIPs. As I've been talking to you, I've really I don't know if you saw the penny drop, but the penny's dropped on what the barriers have been. And it makes so much sense now. And this just goes to show me how when I get cast on itis, I need to really consider what the implications, in the short, long term are in my knitting world. And if I'm casting on lots of things that need lots of headspace, that's not working for me. I need something that is very simple. The other thing, so when I was at Cairn, there was some amazing tutors, and I went to a crocheting workshop, and so she taught us how to do a 5-point granny square, so that you can start to do a cardigan. You start under the sleeve and come out, and your granny square folded in half when it's complete is shaped like a kimono, half a kimono. And then of course you do the other side, so you put the two together, and then you've got your kimono style cardigan. And crocheting for me is very relaxing. It's one of those motions and feelings that I can just meditatively do. So that could be a good option to start instead of the vest. The vest will, I just don't want to start the vest and have another project on the needles that needs thought, because I have only been doing in the round knitting for 4 years now, so I am still quite a newbie to it. When you've done 55 years of knitting pieces and then only 4 years knitting in the round, it still takes some headspace. And yeah, there we go. There's my goals. I think I'll get my crocheting out. There's another really cool cardigan called the Jethro, which is a granny square cardigan, which is half knitting, like the sleeves and the bands are done knitted, and it's granny squares. I mean, granny squares are so easy. That could be another option. There's some thought going there. that could be my fun opportunity this afternoon, because although I have asked Mr. Farmer when he gets back from lambing for us to go through the deep freeze and sort it out, he gets a bit grumps when I put things in and they cover stuff he wants to find, and then he covers stuff I want to find, and I get grumps. And so I said, well, let's kind of get some more. You know what? The more I'm talking about this, the more I can't be bothered doing it. I think I'll forget I even asked him. It's making me tired thinking about it. But what I'd like is we've got 2 chest freezers and 1 stand-up freezer, is for me to have like a third or even a half of one of the chest freezers that's for my stuff, for my my stuff. What I'm meaning by my stuff, we both eat it, but for dump and go meals, for my frozen lunches, like my toasted sandwiches and pizzas and fried rice and whatever, macaroni and cheese, stuff that I eat that he hates, like Thai curries, those sorts of things, and my frozen vegetables and my milk, all in that one area, so that I can just walk in and know that I can get a dump and go meal, or I can get a quick lunch meal for work, or if I need my milk I can grab it without going, oh my gosh, we've got a venison that a wonderful neighbour's given us and I've got to try and find it through around a venue or whatever. We're blessed with food, farming, living rurally. You do have some luxury with that. We both work hard, so we do have we're blessed. So back to knitting again. I have a repair to do. I made this a long time ago, well, quite a few years ago now. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It is a brioche vest. I don't wear it very often. I don't know why, because I really like it, although it does pill. Not hugely, but just about. It's a 10 ply. Again, skeins, not sponsored. And it's purely fluke that they're all skeins. Well, it's just because I've got some wonderful wool here. I don't just knit with skeins, but so this is a open vest, and I'm trying to think what the pattern was called. No, I'm not going to remember, but it's brioche. First time I've ever done brioche, as you can see there. Quite enjoyed it, but it is quite laborious. Actually, meditative is the word I'd use with this, actually. But because it was the first time I've ever done it, I'm not doing a brioche one at the moment. And lots of learning around how to do increases and decreases with brioche, which was interesting. The other thing that I really loved is the binding off the band with a tubular cast off, which I think matches the stripes really well. And I chose to put some quite different buttons rather than matching buttons on it. And I found these really cool buttons in town. I don't even remember which shop now, but they're quite cool buttons. And I love it. And I was wearing it the other day with looks really nice with a dress, but I was wearing it with trousers and a shirt, and stupidly or unthinkingly, I went and fed the chooks when I got home from work without getting changed, and I caught my vest. I'm trying to find where I caught it, on wire in the chook house. That was really, really long. That was like out here. And I've kind of started, I'm going to sit down this afternoon with a needle and start pushing. Doesn't look as bad as, mind you, I've done quite a bit to try and repair it. I just haven't finished. So I'm going to get a needle and I'll just try and pull those stitches out, make them a bit bigger, and pull that inwards if there's any left. Oh, but I was gutted. It's like, the thing is, you spend so many hours knitting these things, and they are quite precious because they, of the hours and hours you work on them. And I was gutted, but that's a repair job for this afternoon, is that. And this time of year, things like these sort of vests are really valuable. The other thing I do really need is more cardigans. That's, you know, it's certainly cardigan. And I did do, actually, that might be a good idea. I did knit a little cardigan a few years ago, which I did bottom up. And I think I used 2 or 3 different patterns and put them together. That might be an idea for something simple. Right, yeah, I think I need to get something simple on my needles that is just not thinking, just meditative, just try and increase that serotonin and dopamine levels. Knitting is one of those things that really does give me a serotonin and dopamine hit and takes my levels up to my hedonic set state. Oh, there's Kenzie growling away. Must be Mr. Farmer back from something. No, it's another vehicle, so I'm going to have to go. But that's my knitting podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, I've rambled along, but it's all been, you know, me. And look forward to, next time I'll tell you what I'm knitting. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.